A will ensures that your assets are distributed according to your wishes in the event of death. A valid and up-to-date will help avoid conflicts with with one's assets after they have passed away. And yesterday concluded National Wills Week, and to help unpack this, I'm joined by Sikhumbuzo Zakwe, financial and legal advisor at Tipfocus. Sikhumbuzo, I would like to start with this question, of course. Why is it so important that we get our wills sorted out?
Thank you for having us. Good morning to your viewers. Well, it is very important that we make sure that we prepare for what happens, how one distributes his assets or his or her assets when they've passed on. So you just want to make sure that there won't be, in fact, you just want to make sure that your loved ones, particularly, who's going to benefit and how much they're going to benefit. So by having a will, it ensures that your estate are distributed according to your wishes. So that helps to make sure that there's no confusion, there's no anxiety, everyone knows how much they're getting as you wish.
Now, what will happen to your life savings if you don't have a will?
Well, what then happens is that if you don't have a will, then the state intervenes. Basically, your assets will be distributed in terms of the interstate succession law. So in that way, your assets won't necessarily be distributed according to your will. It will be distributed in terms of the set rules, in terms of the interstate succession law. So in that way, people that you may not necessarily wish to benefit from you, they might end up benefit from your estate because you did not have a will in place.
Now, give us a step-to-step process and how can you draft a will? And also, I would like to know, what are the costs involved in drafting a will?
What we would normally recommend is that, well, you can draft your own will, but what we recommend is to get an expert, people who are trained in drafting a will. The importance of having someone who's an expert in drafting a will, particularly lawyers and other professionals in this space, is that they'll make sure that your will is in line with the laws of the country, particularly the Constitution, that make sure that it is in line with the laws of the country. It may not be easily invalidated, because if you can write your own will only to find out in the later stage your will is challenged and it is set aside. So in that event, your assets may not be distributed according to your wishes. So what I would recommend, what we recommend is that rather get an expert, someone who's trained in drafting wills, so that you make sure that your will is watertight.
And we always hear these cases, when people, unfortunately, when they die, then it's always, some people, you can't find the will, but there was a will drafted by this person. How do you ensure that that doesn't happen, so that, people are aware that there is a will and that it's easily accessible in the event of your death?
Well, what we recommend is that, obviously, once you have a will in place, ideally, you should give a copy or copies to all the people who are beneficiaries to your will. But most importantly is that the original must be kept in safe custody. So you'll find that most banks will offer such a service, safe custody, and other trust companies. So, but just make sure that you keep it in a place that is very safe and can be easily retrieved in the event that you die. But most importantly, do inform those that you most trust.
And can you make changes to your will at any given point?
It is very important that you update your will from time to time. In the event that new events take place, it could be that you've gotten a new job, you've bought a new property, or there's been you've had a newborn child. All those events that happen in life, in the event that when they happen, make sure that you update your will, because if you do not, and then it happens that you die, some people who would ordinarily wish that they benefit from an estate may not benefit because you did not update your will. So it is important that from time to time, whenever there are changes in your life, you revisit your will and update it.
You know, some companies do have, you know, these life policies and they just ask for a beneficiary. That's not the same as a will right.
Not necessarily. But what then happens is that some policies may form part of the estate, some do not. Things like retirement annuities, pension funds, they don't necessarily form part of your estate. So those are dealt with separately.
And now tell me, when it comes to minors, when you have kids, how do you ensure that they end up, you know, getting the money if their parents, for example, die? How do you make sure that, you know, a guardian doesn't take control over that money?
Excellent question. In fact, that is one of the main reasons why you should have a will in place, particularly to take care of the interests of the minors. Because once you have a will, then it can be easy for you to set up a trust so that you basically nominate who becomes a guardian. We know of stories where people, they die without a will, suddenly there are squabbles or scrabbles for your estate, and then some people end up wanting to take care of people, of your kids because of the benefit or in place. So it is important that once you have a will, the will help you to make sure that you nominate who looks after your children and how they do that as well.
I'm not sure if you mentioned it earlier, but you know, if the legal costs involved, you know, is it so important to get a lawyer to draft your will? What if somebody can't afford those fees? What do they do? Is there a process that they can follow where they can get this done for free?
Well, that's why we've had a National Wills Week, and it's an initiative by the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. It is during this week that you have an opportunity to have a professional and expert to draft a will for you for free. And we at Tipfocus have also responded to this call through the network of professionals that we work within our office to invite members of the public who may not necessarily afford the cost of having their will drafted to say, we have give us a ring. We are here for you. We can help you draft a will free of charge. So this is one of the accessible for those who cannot necessarily afford to have their will drafted by professionals.
Thank you so much. That was financial and legal advisor Sikhumbuzo Zakwe.